Hello everyone, welcome to your favorite channel CS Expert. This is Sanjay. Today I'm going to discuss a new topic that is called planning. It's a part of management. So here we go. So management contains various functions called as, basically there are 7 functions, namely planning, organizing, staffing, directing, coordinating, reporting and budgeting. So planning functions are basically in short known as POSDCORB. Alright. So what is management? First we'll discuss. Management is the process of coordinating work activities so that they are completed efficiently and effectively with and through other people. Okay, we'll see the management in some other class. Today we'll discuss planning. So planning is the beginning process of the management. A manager must plan before he can possibly organize, staff, direct or control. So it is the basic function of management, and planning is always an intellectual process. So definition of planning states that defining goals for future organization performance and deciding on tasks and other resources needed to attain them. Alright, so it basically means the manpower and resources and the resources to allocate. Alright, so that is planning. So in the planning, some various questions may arise. That is, where are we now? That is the current status, and where we want to be. That is our future image. Now this gap needs to be bridged. So this can be done with the help of good planning. Okay, alright. So we'll discuss about the gap the difference between where are we now and where we want to be is the gap, and we need to be bridged. Alright. So manpower planning is a perfect example. It also includes various other factors, that is how effectively we do a task and how efficiently we do a particular task. So the basic definition comes here. The planning is the process by which the managers decide what is to be done, when is to be done, and how is it to be done, and who is to do it. So decision making is just the integral part of planning. Now we'll discuss some major types of planning. This is basically 4 types. First one is strategic, tactical and operational. Second is proactive and reactive planning. Third is formal versus informal planning. Fourth one is functional and corporate planning. So they are the major part of planning. Alright, so these 4 steps you must know. It's very, very, very important. And the basic difference between plans are, some plans are single use and other one are standing plans. Single use plans are for short term and it helps to tackle particular situations, whereas standing plans are the particular rules or policies which follows particular procedures, methods or rules. Alright, now we'll discuss about the first type of planning, that is strategic, tactical and operational plan. So what is strategic planning? We'll discuss with the difference, because it will be more clear if we discuss the difference between strategic and tactical planning. So here we go. Here's the difference. Strategic planning decides the major goals and policies of allocation of resources to achieve these major goals. So it is done at the higher levels of management. It is basically a long-term process. And other one is, it is generally based upon long-term forecasts about technology, political environment, etc. It is more uncertain. Other point is, it is less detailed because it does not involve any day-to-day operations of the organization. Now coming to the tactical planning, it decides the detailed use of resources for achieving these goals. Now these tactical planning is done at the lower levels of management. Why is it so? Because these tactical planning is at the lower hierarchy of the table. Alright, it is also of the short term. It is based upon short term goals. Other point is, it is generally based upon the past performance of the organization and it is less uncertain. Other point is, it is more detailed because it involves day-to-day operations of the organization. Alright, now we'll discuss about operational planning. They are very short range plans. It can depend upon to a season. It can run on a short-term operating periods and it is usually done at lower levels, and its primary concern is efficiency rather than effectiveness. Alright. Now there are 2 basic types of operational plans. One is single plans, another one are standing plans. Single use plans basically depends upon a particular budget, a program or a project, whereas standing plans are policies, procedures or rules which are, if the manager is absent, still the company will follow some policy. This is called now we come across plans. Proactive and reactive planning. It is the second type of planning. Alright, so proactive planning fills the holes created by the unforeseen event. It forces the managers to be dynamic, active and creative. So it helps the manager in commanding the future rather than being commanded by it. So in this, the manager is very dynamic and active. So he thinks about the future more rather than he also thinks about the future. All right. Whereas in reactive planning, managers do not give considerations to what they desire the future to be like, and as a result, the future of the organization is left to the vagaries of social forces. Now we'll see the examples of proactive planning. The EPIL, that is Engineering Projects India Limited, fuel efficient motor car scooter producers such as Maruti Udyog, Hero Honda, offer us endless success stories as to how proactive planning helped them to reap a rich harvest even in the hard times. As you all know, in India, note ban was imposed, GST was imposed, and Digital India. These companies managed to get the profits out of rather than compared to the other companies. All right. Now we take the example of Elon Musk. He always thinks about the future, so he's a proactive planner. He recently launched his new rocket from his company SpaceX with Tesla on it, just to see the future, dream of the intercity rocket travel. All right. Now we come across the third type of planning, that is formal planning and informal planning. Formal plan is a written, documented plan developed through an identifiable process. All right. Whereas informal plan it is not any hard copy. It doesn't require any hard copies. It's the thoughts, what you think about in your mind, and the plans are informal in that case. All right. Managers do not plan for contingencies. There is no provision for unanticipated situation. Informal planning promotes unhealthy tendencies like carelessness, result in ineffective and inefficient employee performance. So this will give you a clear idea about formal and informal planning. That is, in formal planning, the plans are rational, but in informal, it's emotional. It is systematic in formal, whereas disorganized in informal. It can be in regular intervals, and it is having sporadic episodes. Okay, in formal, it is a hard document, whereas in informal, it is just the memory. And talking about the improvement, it's future improvement, and that is based upon the past evaluation. Now we come across the fourth type of planning, that is corporate and functional planning. The corporate planning is integrative. It has both micro and macro environmental threats and opportunity aspects. It provides for internal and external disturbances, whereas in functional planning, it's segmental in nature. Corporate planning is basically the top level of the hierarchy. All right. Whereas functional planning refers to the various departments under which finance, marketing, and other departments are there. So functional is the departmental size of planning, and corporate planning is the hierarchical planning. All right. Now, features of corporate planning. Corporate planning is considered with the long-term goals of the organization. It is planning for overall organizational performance. It discourages ad hocism. All right. So these are the features of corporate planning. Yeah. Now we come across steps in the planning. We have already finished the types of plans. Now we are in the steps of planning. First one is establishing goals to be achieved. Second is establishing planning premises. Third is decide the planning period. Fourth is finding alternatives, courses of action. Fifth is developing derivative plans. Sixth is measuring and controlling the progress. Now there are some limitations to planning as well. Planning is not always on the credit side of the ledger. It may go wrong somewhere. It is not the panacea for all organization ills. More, planning does not guarantee success because it is not a substitute for human action and judgment. It is just a plan on the paper. You often know that big companies may tend to fall on paper but still rise. Alright, so planning is just a phase. You just need to pass it. There are basic internal and external limitations. In internal limitations, number one is rigidity. Second is costly and time consuming. Third is false sense of security. Fourth is managerial deficiencies. Fifth is planning prevents innovation. And talking about limitations, first one is difficult to predict the future. That's absolutely true. Projected too far into the future. Plans are very far, projected very far. All right. The third one is environmental turbulence. There may be a turbulence. A turbulence will occur in the plan, so environmental can act opposite to the plans. In the fourth one is the emergency situation. There may occur an emergency situation which may lead to change of the plan. Now, coming to the conclusion part, we need to adjust. We need to continuously readjust and the issues become not only of the right plans, policies, but also of their timing and sequencing. So we need to plan accordingly, and we need to adjust a bit of things. Okay, then only our plan will succeed. So we should create a prototype first, and then we make changes in that. All right. So this is how we plan. So in this part of the video, I've completed the planning phase of the management. In the other part of the videos, I'll cover organization and organizing, staffing, leading, directing, all the other stuffs. All right. So stay tuned for my channel. Thank you and